There he is, the boss dog. We got him a little bowl of water there. He's checking out the forest. See any coyotes there, Boo Dog? All right. Watching the world burn, watching the world burn. March 14th, 2025. Let's get into it. For once, I have some good positive stuff to put on the video. The first thing was, I've been telling everybody, buy silver, buy gold, and we hit, 3,000 on gold and $34 on silver. That's come back just a little bit below that, but I don't know about you, but I made a lot of currency. So anyway, that's my good news for myself. The other news that I wanted to tell you, and this blew my mind, it was because I was on my way here. I got this flyer in the mail, and I don't know if you're familiar with KIN.com. Anyway, they used to have these great commercials on YouTube, and if I can find the commercial, I'll put it in the video. It's awesome. So I'm going to search YouTube when I get home, and we'll start the video with that commercial right now if I can find it.
Are you rolling?
I'm rolling.
Oh my. Hey, what happened?
I can explain. Florida. Here we go. The ocean's bounty will provide us. I come from a long line of Floridians in distress. Those gorgeous jet skiers flashing me, all right? Whoa. It's really hard to be me. That's the honest truth. What the? Hey, sorry. Come here. Get back here. Sorry.
Good evening. Our top story tonight. Florida man on nude beach menaces retiree with sausage.
There's two sides to every story. People think they know me. They don't. Because you can't. Mine is a result of living in paradise when paradise is trying to take you down.
Tonight's top story, Florida man drowning in pina colada saved by hotel lifeguard.
Still feels hot. This one was good. Shantae. Oh, it's not a total loss. Total loss, yeah. The longer you live here, the greater your chances for your luck to fall. Could be anything. Could be the perfect weather that comes and gets you. Could be the wildlife that surrounds you. Look at this. Beautiful, man. All right, I'll see you guys soon, okay? Gotta go do this. Have fun. I need help. I'm out of water. There are no more drops. I've been disoriented for a long time now. Everything's coming to a head, and I think I've been poisoned. Oh, I gotta get this. It's my agent. Okay. Hi.
Hey, are you okay?
Oh, yeah. Fine.
You want to explain this one, or should I catch it on the news?
Maybe you should come here and look at it.
I'm on my way.
Hurry. She's heading over, so I'm gonna try to clean up a little bit.
Big deal. Oh, my bones hurt. Lunch. The boss says you can't suck a tree. Oh.
Underwear-clad Florida man terrorizes garden party, drinks bird bath. It's coming up next.
I knew it. One thing, untouched by the flames. Man, I'm the luckiest guy. Hey, man, come here. I want to show you. With respect. There you go, young man. Very good. Careful, you don't want to put a hole next to where the satellite came through on the ceiling there.
The recovery team for a private space company got more than they bargained for today after a satellite crashed through the roof of a local Florida man. In a twist, the police have confiscated weapons. Anxious to see how this plays out, I'm Matt Muckaby, live in Dade County.
This thing is a dangerous dangerous toy. Whoa, okay, I think we should take it. If you reverse that, that'd look awesome. You guys want to come? Do you need a bathroom or anything? You could be snuck up on by any number of things. Next thing you know, you're bit.
Florida man robs a local restaurant with snake, flees scene.
Hi, oh, Stephanie, thank you very much.
Yo, is that a snake? Snake!
What the?
Hey, wait, did you see that?
This pool used to be really fun. Brought a lot of happiness to my friends and me.
Go, go, go! Go, Gator! Yeah! He's doing it! Go! Let's go! Run! Go!
Go, you got it!
Florida man hosts a gator watch party where a neighbor loses a thumb. Really? This happened?
One floating slipper partially burnt. Kind of a metaphor for, Exactly.
So what actually caused the fire?
Lightning hit my grill. Then that transfers over to the artisanal coconut oils that I craft here in buckets. I was asleep and I smelled coconut shrimp. So I knew I was either in trouble or already gone. The smell saved my life. That's what happened.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
You might want to check this out.
Oh, that's just cruel. That's not nice. Okay, that one, I did do that.
Hey,
Gail!
great news.
Okay.
You found your policy.
Yeah.
Hold on to that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hey, quick question. Why do you think all this bad stuff happens to me?
It's not because Florida, man. It's because Florida. Man. Woo.
How come it's taken my house burning down for someone to finally see my side of the story?
Well, that's what we do. Understanding the whole picture.
Only difference between you and me, honestly, is a headline.
Take care.
Okay, see ya. Check me out. Woo! Look at this. Perfect day. How's it looking out there? You still married? I never thought I could love another woman after I lost Lula 2, but I'll tell you what, boy, this Lula 3, it's easier than I thought. Not Florida, man. It's Florida. Man. All good from here on out. It's a little choppy, hold on. People often say my life is like a movie, which to me is laissez-faire. Well, I guess we are a kind of a movie, but this is the first time. Every other movie I've made is like gnarly.
All right. So anyway, the reason I'm telling you this, because I want to give you I always try to give you the advice up front in the videos, you know, because that's more important than geopolitics, because there's nothing we can do about geopolitics. But there's a lot you can do about your finances and whatnot. By the way, not financial advice. I'm just saying that gold and silver are a good holder of value. Although, of course, the stock market went back up today, I think like 600 and some points. So if you're in the stock market, you're pretty much, you've come back quite a bit. You know, one stock I want to look at, because, you know, they're firebombing the Tesla dealers and people are setting their Teslas on fire, and some people are selling them. So last I heard, that stock's come down quite a bit. So it might be a good time. I might take a look at it to buy that stock. Unless you think they're going to firebomb more Tesla dealers. But from what I understand, the new FBI under Kash Patel, and of course the Attorney General Pam Bondi, they're looking for those people hard. So I bet they're going to arrest some of them. So what was the other news was, Tulsi Gabbard put out a post I'll try to put the text right here, right now. But she said that they're getting, you know, that there's a lot of leaks right now in the intelligence community. And she said they're hunting for them. And she implied that they found a couple of these leaks, and these people are going to be prosecuted. Now, whether or not they'll go to jail or not, that's another thing. But I'm just glad to see that they're going to do something about these people that work against, you know, the interest of the United States. So anyway, that was good news. But anyway, getting back to the insurance thing. So I called up Ken, and I said, look, man, I'll just tell you straight up. My homeowner's policy is $2,800 a year. I'm retired, man. I can't afford that. So I was going to self-insure, or I was considering it because my mortgage is paid off, and that's an option for me. But anyway, I had this flyer from Ken, K-I-N, and I thought, well, it's worth a try. Maybe I can pick up some, because I don't, you know, who knows what the company's going to be. Do I really care? I mean, yeah, I mean, if the insurance company goes out of business, then I'm screwed. So I'm not telling you that this is a good option, because I don't know who I'm going to get the insurance through. But the guy ran the quote, and for me, $1,200 for a whole year for almost the same coverage that I've got right now. So I went from $2,800 to $1,200 just by running a new quote through Ken. Now, my situations are probably a lot different than yours. Number one, I put $53,000 worth of hurricane windows on my house. You know, more than likely you don't have that. Now, one of the things that was pissing me off with the old company was I got no credit for doing that. I was like, well, wait a minute. Who else that you insure has hurricane-proof windows and hurricane-proof sliding doors? Yeah, it's a $53,000 upgrade to a you know, $200,000 house. I mean, you know, so why couldn't I get a discount on my insurance? Well, with the new Kin, all right, they want, what the way it works is they're going to come in. I have to call and get a home inspection. And by the way, the price range on that should be between about $100 to $200. If you're ever getting a home inspection, if you're paying more than $200, then probably you're getting ripped off. At least that's the going right price range here in Florida. So I don't know what it would be in your state if you're in a different state. But anyway, they have to come in and do the inspection. And you know, I have to make sure that they note that I have a hurricane-proof sliding doors. And of course, they're going to wind mitigate the house too, to make sure that the roof is sturdy enough to stand up to hurricane force winds. And but by the way, here in Florida, you know, the rider for hurricanes is $6,000 out of pocket. So if I have any damage from a hurricane, I have to pay $6,000 deductible, and that's true on both policies, by the way, the Ken policy and my old policy. So anyway, that's I'm just giving you all the numbers. So these are things for you to consider. Okay, that's why I told you nothing but good news up front, huh? And so anyway, that's the news on the home insurance. I'll let you know how it turns out. I'm going to get that inspection done next week, and then I'll convert the insurance over to the new insurance company. And that's another reason that I did it, because my insurance is coming due in April. Okay, so I wanted to get on that right away, and I just kept thinking, there's got to be something that I can do. And I've tried with the auto insurance too. I've been looking into that. You know, so far I haven't been able to come up with anything better on my auto insurance. But I did want to give you some advice on auto insurance. I made a big mistake. I was listening to Handle on the Law, and one of the advices that he gave, and it's good advice, don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing the dude, but he said, you know, if you're in an accident, and you know, when I'm talking about major damage, okay, then always put the insurance, I know your insurance rates are going to go up, okay, that's a given, but it's always nice to have that insurance company between you and the collision repair shop, or collision. I'm not sure the pronunciation on that. You know, I'm just a hick. But anyway, so because, you know, that way if there's a problem, let's say the collision shop, how many horror stories have you heard where people got their cars repaired and they didn't do a good job, or that, you know, something was still messed up, and then it's your word against theirs, and what are you going to do, hire a lawyer? You're going to take them to court? You're going to bring them into small claims court? What a pain in the butt. No, the insurance company, if you've got them between you and the collision shop, then they'll handle all that for you. So you don't have to worry about it. Now, let me tell you my mistake so you don't make the same mistake. I had $800 in damage because I backed in. I had the hatch open and I backed into the garage. And I went into I called the insurance company because I wanted them between me and the collision shop. So I went in and the price tag was $800. That's all that I paid out of pocket. Okay? Or the insurance company paid. Minus $250 deductible. So really, the insurance company only paid $600 or so. You know, maybe $550. Well, what happened was that's counted as an accident. And my insurance went from $800 a year or month, every 6 months, to $1,200 because I filed for an accident. And it won't change for 3 years. So who made out on that? Not me. The insurance company did. So if it's a small amount of damage, yes, I would say don't involve the insurance company, okay? Don't make the... That's why I like to tell you about my mistakes, man. I'm not perfect, you know? I mean, and that's another thing. If you ever catch me on the video where I've told you something wrong, please, God, let me know. By the way, I got a request to put more of the dog on the video and less of my ugly mug. So what we're going to do is on the way back, because the dog, he knows when he's going back. It's weird. I have to push him out in a basket on the way out here. And but he'll get out in front on the way back. So we're going to get some good footage of the dog while I talk about news stories. And but I did want to get one clip out of the way up front. And because another, person complained just a bit that said, I'm tired of watching all the stuff on Ukraine. Can't you, include some happy stuff? Well, here's a clip on Ukraine that I thought was a happy story because the Ukrainians and the Russians spared this church. Let's watch that clip. Wasn't that cool? So that's kind of my Ukraine video for the day. Now I'll probably put some more footage at the end of the video, okay? So that if you don't want to watch it, you can just cut it off right there. So, but I did want to get the news about the insurance up front. Daggone it, I had some other things. We talked about gold and silver. Well, I'm sure I'll think of it here in a bit. Maybe we'll talk about it on the way back, but I've got some other good advice for you other than the homeowners insurance. And we're going to get to that. And so let's sit down and get the reading done because I got to get back. It's going to get dark on me. And then we'll, and I can talk about these other things with the dog on the video. So that'll be good. See, so that cybersecurity guy comes through with some good news for you, man. For once in my, the other one, yeah, daggone, I just thought of it. Let's get this before I forget about it. So if you didn't know, a lot of conservatives are getting swatted around the country. And so, I got to worrying about that, and I've got a video here. This is Joe Pags, and before we watch the video, I wanted to give you the advice up front. Like I said, I'm full of advice on this video. Is Joe Pags, he said if you ever get swatted, okay, then when the police are banging on your door, your life's at risk, okay? Because they're coming in thinking there's a burglar in there, and guns are drawn, man. Wrong move by you or your wife or your dog, you're going to get shot. So that's why swatting is so bad, and it's such a heinous crime. But anyway, but Pags gave some good advice. He said, if it happens to you, call 911. Call 911 right away and say, look, are you at my door? And let them know that I'm coming to the door. And when you tell me I can move towards the door, I will make that move. And so that way, hopefully they won't break your door down. Now in my thing, I would say, maybe holler through the door. I'm calling 911, give me a moment, maybe do something like that. But I thought that was really good advice. And then the other one was that Pags, and I don't know if you could do this, I could probably do this here in Florida, was he established a relationship with the local sheriff. And the local sheriff, it depends on the sheriff, right? Gave him his number so that if Pags ever gets swatted again, he has a personal number to that sheriff, and he'll just call the sheriff right away and say, look, I'm okay. Call off the dogs, and the sheriff will get between him. Now, suppose the sheriff's asleep, right? Maybe it's a hotline and the deputy will pick up the phone, but anyway, but yeah, I just thought that was a cool piece of advice to give to you.
So I waited a couple of days because I didn't want to put this out there yesterday and put fuel in the fire, maybe give somebody some oxygen who's trying to get some publicity out of this. But we were swatted 2 nights ago at my house. Now, the good thing is I'm up until about 5 o'clock in the morning. This happened at 2:35 a.m. And we have cameras around the house. Some you can see, some you can't. So if you're a bad guy out there, you're not going to see where they all are. But we have cameras outside the house. And at 2:35 in the morning, I got an indication on my phone that there was some camera or there was some movement. It's a motion sensor at the front door. And I went, okay, that's weird. Maybe a bug. Who knows? Maybe the dogs had to go out. My wife took the dogs out. Nope. It was a guy holding an AR-15 with a cap on, looking in my window. Now, at that point, you say to yourself, well, I've got a rifle too. Can go grab that and go see what's what. I've got 5 other guns nearby. Grab some of them, go see what's what. And then, end up in a shootout at 2:35 in the morning in the middle of rural Texas. That's something that I don't think that I wanted to do immediately. So what happened was I had this level of calculation in my brain going about a million miles a second. And I said, okay, first thing I need to do, because when it's at night, the cameras are very good. They're color cameras, they're audio cameras. But at night, it goes to sort of a night vision view. So I can't tell if it's a police officer or not. I don't know who it is, but he looks a little bit nervous. But believe me, I've got a video of this guy with a rifle at my front door, like holding it, ready to use it. And I called 911. That was the right answer. And I said, this is my address. This is who I am. Radio, television, talk show host. So some would say public figure. I think I'm being swatted. Are you guys at my house? About 2 seconds later, she said, yes, we are. We got a report of this, and this. Dogs were shot. People were bleeding. People were hiding. And none of that was true. None of it true. Not a bit of it. So I said, none of that's happening. Please tell him to stand down. I'll come out with my hands up while I have you on the phone with me, and I'll explain what's going on. She said, okay, I haven't made contact with him yet. Don't go out yet. So then I walk out of my production studio, and I see in my backyard, you got 2 or 3 people with flashlights. So are you in my backyard too? Hold on, blah, 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 blah. Yes, we're in the backyard. Okay. Give me the go. When he says he's good, when he's got that gun barrel down, I will come out. Waiting. Then she says, I still have the complainant on the line. I said, well, I'm at the address. Okay. So there is no complainant here. There is no distress here. There are no issues here. This is a swatting. If you don't know what that is, they send a tactical team to your house pretending there's an emergency because their hope is to either scare you on the low end, have you come out and confront the police officers and get killed, death by cop, or something else. It's a political message they're sending. They don't like that you're a conservative. They don't like that you're this, that, or the other. And again, I waited 2 days to do this because I think the bad guy probably would have tuned in yesterday to see, am I going to give, some oxygen and some gas to this? And the answer is no. So I waited. But again, this is not me jumping on any bandwagon. I wasn't going to publicize it at all, but all of these big people are, and I think that there's probably more power in putting the information out there. So once I got the okay, I walked out, and it's not one officer, it's not one deputy, it's 7. There are 7 deputies in like with tactical gear. All of them had a long gun, as they should. I'm not against that. I have one too. All of them nervous as hell. I get it. I understand. At 2:30 in the morning on a Tuesday or whatever it was, that's not something that you get a call like that. You're stressed out, and it's in an area of the world where things like this don't go on. So they're ready to go. Thankfully, once Joe Pag, so one knew that it was me, and we had a conversation. I said, listen, this is what they're doing. They're targeting anybody who's pro-Trump, who's a conservative. It turns out, according to those over on X, it looks like they might be targeting people who have said anything negative about Zelensky and about Ukraine. It looks like that might be what's going on here, because there was some Ukraine non-friend list or something that went out 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and I was on it because I dared say, why is he stopping elections? Why is he stopping free speech? Why is he stopping worship? So that I was now in the doghouse. So I went out there, and it took a while for them to understand that what I was saying was true. Thankfully, they knew who I was as a public figure, and a guy that they know on the radio and TV, and I was able to calm everything down. And, we made an agreement. You guys get a call to my house. You got my cell phone number. You call me. You can't get me, then come. Because, again, this is what they do. It's a scare tactic to shut me up. You've noticed since then I have not shut up, so it's not going to happen. But there's no way somebody's family should be in harm's way. I just want you to think for a second if I would have grabbed my AR-15 and walked out the front door, or my pistol and walked out the front door. I would have been dead in my doorway. Dead. I mean, think about that. That's a tactic of the left. That's the tactic of those who don't like my politics. It's not okay. Not by any means. It's not something I would ever imagine doing. Because I disagree with somebody, I would just disagree with them and try to make them see the light. But that's really something. Had I taken any other action, I might have been killed at my house that night. And you start to think, maybe that's the tactic. Maybe that's the end goal they have. Maybe that's the result they want. I've seen prominent people over on X, Nick Sorter, and I think the guy's name is Gunther Eagleman. I've seen them talk about it. Alex Jones from InfoWars said one of his reporters was swatted the night before, something like that. An InfoWars reporter was actually killed in Austin recently. Now, we don't know that that's connected to this at all. It could be something else. But there's an attack right now. It's a scare tactic and a hope to actually leave people dead, I believe, from the left to the right now. I'm not saying everybody on the left is doing this, but you need to shut up about Ukraine or else we're going to show up at your house at 2:35 a.m. Good news is, and before I would ever report on this, I've spoken with the Sheriff's Department at length. They have my number. They have my name. We now have a plan in action should they get a call like that again before they dispatch anybody out to my house. Now, others are not involved in this, and if you've got an emergency where I live, near where I live, you're going to have perfect service. They're going to call me first. They're going to make sure that they have the right thing first. They're going to now understand this is a tactic that people are using to try to cause me harm somehow, and sadly, as collateral damage, my family. And that's not okay. So I made the conscious decision to not talk about this right after it happened, to not talk about it yesterday. And now that I see this being publicized more by people over on social media, maybe there's strength in numbers and letting people know we're hip to you. And police agencies now are learning. And to that end, I texted my friend Kash Patel today. The FBI director told him what happened and suggested that possibly the FBI might want to put out some sort of notification that there are people who are under attack because of their thoughts. Okay? So I wanted to put it out there because I wanted to stay ahead of it, but not get so far ahead of it that it gave this person the oxygen and the credit. I didn't want them to go, yeah, I got him. I didn't want that to happen. Like when I was a television news anchor, when we would get a call from somebody saying there's a bomb threat at whatever school, we wouldn't air that. Because if you aired it and it was just some kid trying to get tomorrow off of school, get a long weekend, then more people are going to do it. You know what I mean? So let me say this to all the bad guys out there. The police are completely hip to what you did. The only person they'll respond to is somebody in my house. They've got all of our names and all of our phone numbers. If you're anybody who's using a VoIP from very far away, which is what happened, They're not going to listen to you when it's my house. They're going to call me first, call my wife, verify what's going on, and then they will either come or not come depending on the situation. So you took your shot, almost quite literally, and you missed. And you should feel like the idiot that you are. That's not how you solve problems. How you solve problems is you break it down, you discuss it, you vote, you get people in there that you want. This is not how you do it. It's actually pretty disgusting, to be honest with you. So I wasn't going to talk about that, but I decided, and actually just was out in the hallway. My wife was like, "Yeah, well, why don't you mention it? Maybe it was time."
So now let's get on to Ukraine just a bit before I do the sit down. If you didn't know, Putin rejected the ceasefire, as he should have, but he did say, he said the same thing he's been saying. I mean, it's more or less. I'm not going to go through it again with you. No NATO. By the way, NATO's out. So he got that wish. So they're getting closer and closer to an agreement. But Putin just lays out the same thing. I've said it. Putin. I don't know why. I don't know. Putin's got a hell of a lot of patience. And if you watch his statement, I mean, talk about the most well-read statement. And of course, he was in fatigues and he was in Kursk. Now, Putin said they've got the Ukrainians surrounded, and they're being charged with terrorist acts because they found, and I haven't seen any footage yet, but they said that they treated the civilians very, let's just say very badly, in the areas that the Ukrainians were occupying in Russia. Now remember, that's Russian territory before the war, and so they're treating them as terrorists. And anyway, so I've heard wild numbers, 600 to thousands that are in this, been surrounded. And then there was another post on X that said, no, that's not the case. But anyway, Putin said, yeah, we got them surrounded, and they're either going to die or surrender. That's their choice. So let's hope they surrender. And then Trump came out and he said, can you treat them nicely? And Putin said, we will treat them, nice. Well, he didn't say nicely, but he said, we will treat them, as they should be treated. In other words, they're not going to torture them or beat them up, but they are going to, investigate for terrorist acts. And if they're found guilty, I imagine they'll be put to death. So if they've been in there torturing civilians or killing them, and the Russians find out and you surrender, you're not going to live long. That's my opinion. As you shouldn't. In war, you never ever torture civilians or kill them. Unless, yes, of course it happens, but not intentionally. Okay? When you're clearing a building, for example, throwing hand grenades in rooms and everything else, it could be a kid in that room or something like that. And that's why soldiers have such PTSD, because things like that happen. But I mean, the ones that have a conscience. I worked with soldiers that didn't have a conscience, and that's the ones that need to be rooted out and thrown out of the military, or in this case, they'll be put to death. So anyway, let's get into the reading, because I've got some good clips here. I got one of, I want to read it to you, because Carrie Lake, I was wondering what happened to her. If you didn't know, she's over the Voice of America, and we'll get to that clip here in just a second. All right, let's get into the reading portion of the video. Figures that the sun would be right there. So I'm going to have a hard time seeing all of this. But anyway, this was the post by Tulsi Gabbard. Our nation's intelligence community must be focused on our national security mission. Politically motivated leaks undermine our national security and the trust of the American people and will not be tolerated. Unfortunately, such links have become commonplace with no investigation or accountability. That ends now. We know of, see, I told you, they said we know of. I guess they've identified some of these leakers and are aggressively pursuing recent leakers from within the intelligence community, and will hold them accountable. So anyway, now this was a hell of a post. If you don't know who Dmitry Medvedev, he's kind of the what do you want to call him? The bulldog for Putin. He says all the things that Putin wants to say. And I'm sure he's cleared by Putin to say these things, but listen to this post. UK updates Trump. Russia should accept the proposal for a ceasefire in Ukraine without any conditions, says British Foreign Secretary. Britain and his minister can shove their idea back up the shithole it came from, diplomatically speaking. Sorry, and I had to pronounce it. He didn't actually put the word in there, but anyway. So this was anyone. Buckle up on this one. Now, this hasn't been community noted, so I take these at their face value. But anyway, has anyone been paying attention to this whopper? John Podesta, a senior advisor to Joe Biden on clean energy, former White House chief of staff to President Bill Clinton, 1998 to 2001, and counselor to President Barack Obama, 2014-2015, has been handling a $375 billion slush fund, giving billions to charities that don't appear in the IRS charity database and has no federal filings, according to the New York Post. Investigations reveal that at least $20 billion was directed to environmental organizations, many of which were established only months prior to receiving the funds. Kamala Harris gave a $7 billion check to a Maryland climate group that also had no federal filings. Please, Lord, baby Jesus, let Kash Patel give these people the justice they deserve for straight robbing the American people. They should have to pay it back and then get charged criminally. If you're a Democrat, you should be utterly embarrassed and outraged with your party. If they're a Democrat, they're probably in on the take, man. Are you kidding? All Democrats are corrupt. You know, you got a neighbor, don't make a loan to a damn Democrat neighbor. I can tell you that right now. You'll never see that money again. Oh, my God. Anyway, so that was the next post. Now, this is, we'll get to that one later on. And I already got the church on the video. These are all Ukraine posts. This is an interesting one. USDA was funding a $379,000 grant in San Francisco Bay to educate queers, trans, and BIPOC urban farmers and consumers about food justice and values-aligned markets. And we got a video on that. Let's watch that video.
Hi, everyone. This is Brooke Rollins coming to you from the United States Department of Agriculture here in Washington, D.C. for your Doge update. Until today, USDA was funding a $397,000 grant in the San Francisco Bay Area to educate queer, trans, and BIPOC urban farmers and consumers about food justice and values-aligned markets. By stopping this wasteful spending here at USDA, we are ending identity politics and we are refocusing our agency on its core mission of supporting American farming, ranching, and forestry. Stay tuned for more updates coming soon.
All right. So that was, I just thought that was an interesting post. And this is another one. Trump unleashes the 1798 time bomb. Mass deportations are about to get wild. And I heard about this. So this is definitely true. Okay, so at least it's been confirmed by multiple sources, and it's not community noted. Hold on to your hats, America. Donald Trump, or President Trump, is pulling a historic power move straight out of the 18th century. Trump's invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to turbocharge his mass deportation plan, kicking off as early as tomorrow, March 14th, 2025. Yep, you heard that right. A 226-year-old wartime law is about to send shockwaves through the border crisis. This isn't your average ICE roundup. Trump's targeting hardcore criminals like the Trans de Agua gang, Agua, freshly minted as foreign terrorists, and he's not messing around. Think instant detentions, no court delays, and one-way tickets out of the United States, possibly straight to Guantanamo Bay. He's calling illegal immigration an invasion, flipping the script to unleash this dusty law that lets him deport anyone from hostile nations faster than you can build the wall. Critics are screaming overreach. Legal eagles say it's a stretch, meant for wars, not border battles. But Trump's team doesn't care. They're bypassing the clogged immigration courts to deliver on his day one promise, the biggest deportation ever. Buckle up, Buttercup. I added that because this is about to get loud. I just thought that was a hell of a post, man. I tell you, I love X. Hey, by the way, that was something I meant to tell you. Maybe I should tell you on the way back. But anyway, in the last video, I told you that when I visit my X account and I'm not logged in, all I see is entries from like December 2023. So a friend of mine, he said, well, why don't you grok your link and see what Grok comes up with? So I did. I used Grok. I tell you what, I'm getting a lot of good stuff out of the AI Grok. And so I checked the link, and Grok came back and said it found nothing wrong with the link. So maybe there's nothing wrong with it. And then my buddy who went in and looked at it, he said it just looks like everything's out of order. It's not time sequenced when you log in or when you view it without being logged into X. So maybe that's all it is. So if Grok didn't find anything, and he could, so maybe I'm not being censored on X, which is good. Who knows, you know? Let's see. What was the other one that I wanted to talk about? We'll get it on the way back. I'm sure it'll pop in my head. This is an old video of Barack Obama. OMG, oh my God, this is not AI, it's real. It's a must watch. 2011, Obama announces a Department of Government Efficiency and puts Joe Biden in charge of it. That didn't go nowhere, did it? Joe Biden, the most corrupt president ever in the history of the United States. Well, every Democrat president's corrupt, but I mean, Joe Biden took it to extremes, didn't he? Oh my God, his administration. Let's watch that video.
Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody. Waste we should be getting rid of even if we didn't have a deficit. Sure, some of these cuts aren't that big, but no amount of waste is acceptable. Not when it's your money. Not at a time when so many Americans are already cutting back. Just as families are living within their means, government should too. Did you know the federal government pays for a website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers? They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters. I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. And there are hundreds of similar sites that we should consolidate or just get rid of. By the way, you're not only paying for websites no one needs, you're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses. For the last decade, the government's owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the middle of Brooklyn, for example. Now, the government hadn't been able to sell this building and others like it because of red tape and Washington politics that held things up for years. But we're finally cutting through all that and plan to get rid of these buildings in the months ahead. We need to step up our game. We need to go after every dime. We need to make government work for you. That's why, starting today, I've asked the Vice President to lead a renewed effort to hunt down misspent tax dollars in every agency and department of this government. We're calling it the Campaign to Cut Waste, and I know Joe's the right man to lead it, because nobody messes with Joe.
There's a new standard by which the government is going to function from this point on. The American people are entitled to transparency. Look, a lot of this depends on new, sophisticated methods, but it also, we know, depends on relentless focus on making this a priority. Focus that can't be delegated. We're holding ourselves accountable, and we're deeply committed and focused on making government function better. We're not just eliminating fraud and waste. We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not only our administration, but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue. We're going to give you the government you expect and deserve.
All right, so that was Barack Obama. This is another good video, and we'll get the rest on the way back, because I want to get going with the dog and get the dog on the video instead of my ugly mug. Fox Business, there's some goodies coming. Lower taxes, less regulation, less fentanyl, less immigration, which means you don't have illegal immigrants crowding out our healthcare system. All this is happening right now, and it's not being factored into the markets. Let's watch that video.
The thing is that the markets aren't taken into account, my view, and I think this is pretty much backed up by everybody I'm speaking to, is that there's there's some goodies coming, right? Lower taxes, less regulation, less fentanyl in this country because we closed the borders, which is going to be good for the economy. Less immigration, which means you don't have illegal immigrants clouding our healthcare system. All this is happening right now. And it's not being factored into the market. So I would just say this, if you're looking at this sort of broadly, this is a puke.
Technical
we
term,
need to get
as
some
you
of
said.
this out of our system.
Peace out, stay free, and we'll get some more on the way back. My ugly mug won't be on here. We'll get the dog. And by the way, the dog goes back to the old battle axe on Sunday, so we won't see any more of the dog for a while, so you just have to look at my ugly mug in the future. And by the way, it's going to get dark. We're going to get a full moon tonight. I think it was full last night, so it's just slightly less than full. And we'll get that on the video, so that'll be cool. And we'll maybe have some stuff to talk about with the full moon. I love looking at a full moon, don't you? You know, hopefully there won't be any werewolves around. All right, let's get going. All right, as promised, we're going to get the dog on the video. I get him to, yeah, there he goes. Like I said, on the way back, I can get him. So on the way out, he's in the basket or behind me. I don't know why. So anyway, a couple of other things. I just out of curiosity, you know, because I do a lot of geopolitics, and you know, my opinion of Ukraine. I think it's a corrupt nation led by a dictator. You know that and I think they've committed war crimes. But anyway, sorry, I'm trying to keep it on the dog here. I just well, I wanted to talk about. So I grokked my name, and I asked Grok. I said, "Am I on the Ukraine death list?" If you didn't know, Ukraine has a death list. Well, we don't want to get that on the video. There he goes. All right. If you didn't know, Ukraine has a death list, and you know, like a lot of the conservative commentators that are getting swatted right now are on that death list. And I'm such a little fish, I didn't expect my name to be on there, but I just thought, well, it'd be a curious question. And it said I wasn't on there, so, which I figured I wouldn't be, but I'm just saying that Grok's pretty damn cool, you know, for a lot of things. You know, if you just want to learn about history or you got a question, I tell you, these AIs now, you know, as some of the commentators have pointed out, you know, use it as a tool, not as a substitute for your own brain cells. You know, that's the key. You know, use it to educate yourself, make yourself better, or make a project a little bit easier. But, you know, don't use it like kids. Don't let your kids use it for, you know, reading, writing, arithmetic, their papers. Make them do their own research. There's nothing more valuable than being in a library. That's for darn sure. So I had another fun video here for you. See if we can keep them on. It's tough trying to push the basket and keep the dog on the video. Damn near impossible here. But anyway, this was from Che Bowles. And it says, Russian commander thanks the Australian government for another donation. The retreating Ukrainians are abandoning millions of dollars worth of kit and vehicles, which, you know, not counting the ones that have been blown up. That'll be at the end of the video. But so this is just a Russian thanking Australia for some good equipment that the Russians can use now. Let's watch that video.
Я, командир группы АИДа спецназа Ахмат, выражаю благодарность Вооруженным силам Украины, а также Министерству обороны Австралии за оказанную помощь в виде вот такой хорошей машины под названием «Бушмайстер». Послужит нам хорошую службу. Вместе победим. Ахмат – сила, Россия – мощь, а враг будет разбит.
Wasn't that funny? I thought that was interesting. Let's see if I can get another post here on the way back. Let's see. This is an interesting one. The European Convention on Human Rights has found Ukraine guilty and ordered compensation to the families of the victims. And over a decade ago, in May of 2014, Ukraine terrorists forced anti-coup protesters, majority Russians, into, and this is a true story, by the way, it's an awful story, into the trade union building and set it on ablaze. 48 people were killed, and I'm going to add burned to death in the incident, and no one was punished. The ECHR, I don't know what that is, assume it's some sort of body, has legal authority, has ordered Ukraine pay compensation to 28 families. So just an interesting post. You know why I'm so anti-Ukraine. And everybody says, "Oh, you're a Putin lover. You're Putin lover. All you do is talk about Putin." So anyway, I had one more piece of news. When I think of it, I'll get it on the video as I think of things on the way back. I have to admit, it is fun watching that dog. Isn't he cute? I mean, you know, he's my wife's dog and my ex-wife's dog, unfortunately. So I only get him occasionally, but I do try to get him out every other day for a big hike like this. And that's why I've been out so much in the forest, because I got to spend all my time with the dog, you know, because once she takes him back, you know, it's just me in the house from that point on. And that's when I got to get into my gardening projects. Maybe we'll make some videos about that, try to educate you on growing seeds and stuff that I'm going to be getting into. All right, he's getting ready to do his thing. Let's cut off right there. All right, I got 3 more stories on the way back. Thanks to Chucky Schumer. The bill passed, so they're going to fund the government. I think like 2/3 of the Democrats voted against it, but they got it over the hurdle. I think Rand Paul, I haven't heard yet, but I'm pretty sure he was supposed to vote against it. But anyway, evidently it's going to Trump's desk. And by the way, that just kicks the can down the road. I'm not real happy about it because it just still continues to spend. They didn't really cut much. And they said, well, look again at it at 6 months. And that's all they keep doing. Yeah, if you got kids, can you imagine what they're going to have to pay because of the greed of the Democrats? I mean, you know, that was another thing I just wanted to point out about Democrats. You got a Democrat neighbor, you know, look at who they vote for. You know, I mean, my God, Maxine Waters, she's threatened, you know, death threats on all kinds of people, which should be against the law, in my opinion. You know, she is, and man, is she ugly. Oh my God. And yet they keep voting her in. And then you got Shifty Shift. I'm sorry, I got to walk backwards here. He's gotten behind me. I think I'm going to have to take the dog off the video. I can't walk and chew gum at this. Well, here he goes. Now, if he gets out in front, I can do it. But anyway, you know, Shifty Shift, remember when Trump called him pencil neck? You know, I can't help it. My eyes drift to his neck. It does look like a pencil neck, doesn't it? Oh my God. Well, the other news was the rocket is on the way to pick up the astronauts. The ones that Biden left up there because he didn't want the bad publicity, you know. And last I heard from them, they seemed in good spirits. So that was good. So we'll get them back. So I'm going to bring the phone up because can't keep it on the dog and read this to you at the same time. This is from DC Drano. It says, absolutely insane that almost every other Trump executive order gets a national injunction. Yeah, we got to do something about these Democrat activist judges. They think that they're the president of the United States. I do not believe they have the authority to override what the executive branch is doing. But that'll be up to the Supreme Court. And we got that traitor, Amy Barrett up there, that everybody knew she was going to be a bad pick for Trump. And then, of course, you got that woman, what's her name? I can't remember. Couldn't tell you if a woman was a woman. And the Democrats put her on the Supreme Court. You know how she's going to vote. She's dumber than a bag of stones. But anyway, so let me get back to reading this to you. But we had to endure 2 full years of Biden's vaccine mandates, masks on kids, no religious exemptions, priests and hairdressers getting arrested, nurses, soldiers, and firefighters being fired, and masks on planes until I got one single Florida judge to say, hey, maybe these executive orders are just a little bit unconstitutional. Shout out to Judge Mizelle, M-I-Z-E-L-L-E. Our federal district courts have been hijacked. Time to start impeaching them. So, you know, I mean, it's like the Democrats have no memory whatsoever. I mean, I'm from Michigan, and it was shocking to me how Whitmer had everybody locked up there for almost a year, man. I mean, they were doing crazy shit like roping off so that you couldn't go in and buy seeds to plant a garden. You know, because if you're staying home, what better time to have a garden because you can't go to work? And man, and she kept the kids in masks forever. And then they voted her back in. So don't tell me the Democrats, and that gets back to me. Look at the people they vote for. And then I wanted to talk about billionaires for just a minute. So the left is coming out against Elon Musk, and all he's doing is trying to find government corruption. And, of course, rescuing people. You'd think that the left would be up for this, rescuing the astronauts from the space station, building environmentally friendly electric cars. And yet they hate on Elon Musk. And that was another number that shocks me, was everybody worries about Trump's security. But the number that was quoted, he's spending $250,000 on his security a day. And I can't imagine. Now, I don't know if that's all coming out of taxpayer or his pocket. I couldn't tell you. I just knew the number. But when you think about Elon Musk, think about what he's paying. I bet he's paying about the same damn amount, you know. And that's good. And look at how much he's lost just trying to do the right thing. His Tesla stock's way down. He paid $44 billion for Twitter just to give us free speech again and take it away from the censoring, authoritarian, warmongering Democrats, you know. So, I mean, we wouldn't have free speech if it wasn't for Elon Musk, I don't think, you know, because he freed up the world. And without Twitter, he couldn't have changed the world. And when you look at Soros, a Democrat, look, he gets prosecutors elected, which is amazing because those are Democrats now. All you got to do is buy off a Democrat and you get their vote. So I don't know. Soros spends a lot of money in these cities and towns to get prosecutors in that won't prosecute criminals. So look at what Soros does. Soros has overturned governments. He nearly bankrupted Great Britain. To me, he's the great. I mean, obviously, it worships Satan. There's no doubt about it. I mean, because all he does is try to do evil things to the world. Hell, he almost destroyed the United States. He came damn close to it. And remember, he was using U.S. taxpayer money to funnel it to the NGOs to destroy, well, not only the United States, but everywhere else. So there's good billionaires, and I rank Elon Musk in that category. And then you got people like George Soros. I'm just saying, let's get the dog on the video one last time here. If I think of something else, I want to get that moon on the video, so I'm hoping I'll come up with another story for you. I'll just keep going through my X feed. There's got to be something that's interesting. All right, there's the dog again. Whew. Wanted to get this on the video. You hear about chemtrails. You got one here, one there, one there, one there. Everybody says that they're spraying chemicals into the atmosphere. This needs to stop. Trump needs to look into this. Yeah, I got the plane moving along right there. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that. Look over here. These are all chemtrails. That's not exhaust from the airplane. Can you see the plane? I'm going to center right on it. Maybe we can zoom in on it. Laying that chemtrail. Have I got it? Hard to tell. Looking at the back of the screen. I think I got it right there. Yeah, that's the plane right there. Unbelievable. Let's zoom back out. See if we can get the dog back on the video. So anyway, wanted to get back on that theme of Democrat voters. Let's see if he'll move along beside me. Yeah, he's gonna kind of do it. I can get him right there. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, you know, when you look at Nancy Pelosi, man, I'm gonna tell you what. I've talked about her many times. If she jumped out of a closet on a Halloween night, I'd panic. I'd run the other way. But not only that, I mean, we all know she does insider trading. And look at San Francisco. It's a crap hole, man. All right, I'm going to say it. It's a shithole. I mean, she doesn't care about her constituents. You know, I mean, but they vote her in. I mean, the good God, she's been in Congress for 80 years, man, maybe 200 years. I don't even know. You know, look at Chucky Schumer. I mean, does he look like something out of the Addams family? You know, and he doesn't care about his constituents. Why do they vote him back in all the time? And then you got Hakeem Jeffries. He's a Marxist, communist. He doesn't give a crap about Georgia. I don't even know why Georgia voted the guy in. There was a good candidate. I don't remember who ran against him. Who was it? I can't remember. Anyway, and then, you know, up in Michigan, I told you they elected Whitmer. You had Tudor Dixon. Tudor, not only is she hot, I mean, I'm telling you, she's good looking. But you know, she was talking just perfect sense. And yet Michigan elected the witch, because that's what I'm telling you. that Whitman looks like a witch, man. Like the Wicked Witch of the West, something out of the Wizard of Oz. And I can't keep him on the video, sorry. But we'll just get some nature here. But, you know, so they had a real good candidate. But the Democrats, they put the same evil people back in, no matter what. Now, granted, there's a lot of cheating that goes on in a Democrat election, which I think we caught on after 2020, and some of that has been cleaned up. And then when Elon Musk cleans out the Social Security database of all the people that are 200 years old getting Social Security, which the Democrats are for. They want the fraud. Well, I guess it's probably Democrats that are getting that money. So they don't want, that's why they're pissed at Elon Musk. He's cutting them off, you know, because somebody's collecting for that 200-year-old person, right? You know, so they're actually for, they're talking about, oh, he's going to cut Social Security. He ain't cutting Social Security, he's taking the fraud out of it. And Democrats are against that, man. Anyway, I got a good host here. More on the Democrats. You know me, I love a Democrat. So this is Rand Paul. And just a crazy story. Let's see if we can get the dog back on. And just get a view of him. Just tried to put President Doge foreign aid into law. 27 Republicans voted to cut foreign aid, but 26 Republicans and all Democrats, the Borg, the hive mind Democrats, voted to keep funding foreign aid at Biden levels. What a disappointment. Those who voted with me, yeas, 27. And then, of course, he lists all the votes. I won't read those to you. That's, you know, we don't need to. But the fact that the Democrats care so little about their constituents and so little about the United States that all they want to do is send that money overseas. Hell, they wanted to fund the Ukraine war for $350 billion while people froze to death in North Carolina. That's who a Democrat is, man. You got a Democrat neighbor, a Democrat friend? Try pointing some of these things out to them every now and then. So I got the chemtrails. There's more on the chemtrails right there, but I wanted to get that sun on the video. Isn't that pretty? This we've showed this many times in many of my videos, and this is kind of my exercise hike. By the way, once the dog goes back, do a little promotion. Outdoors with Kursk on Rumble. We're going to be doing some hiking videos. I'm going to get some serious hikes in. I'm going to dress up in my combat fatigues. When I say combat, I mean I gave all those away. But I mean my serious hiking clothes because of ticks and everything else. And we're going to go up deep into the Collin National Forest and maybe some other dangerous places. You know, I'll have to be packing when I get in there. I definitely have bear spray with me. You know, because it takes a lot of preparation to do a hike like that. You know, plus the drive takes about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half just to get to the location where I got to hike in. And then once you hike in, you know, you're running out of daylight. You know what I mean? You're saying, well, if you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, mornings are just terrible to be in the forest because all that, it's hot, the bugs are out, the dew's getting all over you. The other thing I wanted to point out, and if anybody has a clue, you know, I'm on Odyssey, and let's get the dog back on the video, see if we can get him. Well, it's hard to, I can't get him on the side here if you get out in front. Anyway, so I'm on Odyssey, but I was thinking about pursuing Rockfin. I've given up on Parler. Sorry, man, I just can't do it. True Social, I've got 7 followers. You know, so it's almost not even worth being on there. But I was thinking about TikTok. Would you? But the reason I don't want to mess with it is because the government may just shut it down. So what's the point of putting any work into TikTok if there's a risk that it's going to get shut down? All right, so anyway, just, oh shit, I dropped the phone. I got to go back. Anyway, good. That's one good thing about being out here in the forest. When you do something crazy like drop a phone, nobody's going to pick it up unless a bear eats it. All right, man, we'll probably get another story here in a bit. So I'm listening to the Chad Benson show. If you don't believe there's evil in this world, you got another thing coming. That's why I'm a strong believer in God and Satan. I believe they both exist. Otherwise, I can't explain stories like this, but it's a true story. They just arrested a woman who had and he didn't say whether it was a boy. I think he might have said whether it was a boy or a girl. I don't guess it doesn't matter. But it had the kid locked in a room for 20 years. Only let him out to do chores around the house. And the only reason the kid was rescued was the kid set the room that he was locked in on fire, so that the fire department came, and that's when they found him or her. And they only weighed, can you imagine, 67 pounds. Not only was she keeping him or her locked in the room, she was doing that. But anyway, let's finish off the video right here. We won't even put any war footage on this video. Does that make you happy? So this is DC Drano. Female reporter hits Trump in the face with her microphone. He shrugs it off and says, she just became the big story tonight.
Mr. President, walk us through the Gaza, Mr. President. Obviously, you're concerned about the situation in Gaza. What are the hopes now to get the hostages back?
She just became a big story tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you see that? What?
May have been an accident. What do you think? And I just thought that was a cute story. All right, let's finish it there. Peace out. Stay free. All right. I did have one more for you. Like I told you, just full of information on this video. The Samsung Galaxy S25, well, it's been out for a while, but I'm just going to tell you the service that I use. And I hate giving money to the enemy, but I use Google Fi. And the reason I use Google Fi was, number one, it's fairly inexpensive if you don't worry about data. And because I don't really worry about data, you know, it makes it really cheap. I pay less than $30 a month. And it's got really good coverage worldwide, actually, the network. So, I mean, only probably Starlink has a better worldwide coverage than Google Fi, because it uses 3 sets of towers. I guess Google twisted the arm of Verizon and the other carriers to use all 3 towers. But anyway, I know I'm making a short story long, but they always offer these huge deals. And they were offering the Samsung Galaxy S25 for $600 off. So $1,200 is the regular price, and I picked it up for about $650. Okay, and then the nice thing about Google, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get that on a video. Anyway, he's cute. The great thing is you can just do a trade-in. And so I've got the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, you know, and by the way, that's the Ultra. And they're going to give me a $450 trade-in. So I'm really getting the Samsung Galaxy S25 for, Jesus, I mean, what, $250 or so? I mean, that's a hell of a deal for, you know, an advanced phone. So that always keeps me on the bleeding edge of technology, which is what I like. And that's why I go with Google Fi as a carrier. That, you know, and by the way, there are stipulations. Like, you have to keep Google Fi as your provider to get that $600 off for, I think it's only 128 days, which is still a long time, you know. So that means you can't switch to like Verizon or, you know, or if Google, I mean, God forbid, and they haven't done it in years, but suppose they raise the price of their service, you know, to an outrageous amount, you know, then you're stuck with that service. So, you know, you do have some strings attached, no doubt about it. But I wanted to throw that out to you. Check out, if you want to give money to the enemy, Google Fi. If not, you know, you hear on the radio, Patriot Mobile, patriotmobile.com. That's, supposedly they support conservative causes, and that's a good thing. All right, that's it. Sorry, this would be a long video.
You found some pretty serious waste at the U.S. Agency for Global Media, I understand. Tell us about that.
Oh boy, you know, I've been in the position for just a few weeks, and I went into fact-finding mode, and the waste is outrageous. From a 15 million a year fancy skyscraper with the most fancy furniture you'd ever see and marble finishings, to just waste, everyday waste. I wrote one down. I just saw this before I left the office today. $81,430 to pay for focus group discussions in 3 West African countries to see if they can identify biased news. So today, I started the process of cutting the contracts and terminating the contracts of the Associated Press, Reuters, and the Agency of the French Press. from our agency. We are there to tell the story of America. Why do we need the agency French press to tell that story? And I just saved the American taxpayers $53 million. Tomorrow I'm going to continue cutting wasteful spending at the Agency of Global Media.